about how when you would bring up Pac name around Diddy, he'll get mad.
Yes. He hated every bit of it. I remember one time, he was like, who did you grow up listening to? I'm like, Tupac. I ain't mentioned Biggie. That nigga ain't even talk to me for like 4 fucking days after that. Everything with Pac, like, you couldn't say Pac was anything better than Biggie.
50 just dropped a jaw-dropping clip showing Diddy in prison, and people can't stop talking about it. The man who once bragged about sipping fine wine behind bars and schooling inmates on business now looks completely terrified.
You can't put them in the same realm or nothing. It was all about Biggie. Nick, I ain't know no fucking, it was all a dream whole song. I knew a couple words, the first verse maybe, but he made us recite the whole fucking thing. I guess, I don't know. He made us recite that whole fucking thing. And I don't think that Biggie would have gave a if a nigga would have killed about reciting this whole shit. You dig? Like, cause I grew up listening to Biggie too, and I just felt
that confident energy, gone. And word is, Diddy's got real enemies on the inside. Some say the danger is coming straight from people still loyal to Tupac. For years, the ghost of Tupac Shakur and Christopher the Notorious B.I.G. Wallace has haunted hip-hop like an open wound that refuses to heal. And through it all, Diddy has stood his ground, denying any part in what happened to either of them. Tupac's murder went down in Las Vegas on September 7, 1996. He was hit in a drive-by and fought for 6 long days before passing at just 25 years old. Only half a year later, Biggie met the same fate in Los Angeles on March 9, 1997. Another drive-by, another legend gone too soon. It was one of the darkest times in rap history. The East Coast versus West Coast war split the culture in half. It wasn't just about beats and bars. It was about pride, loyalty, and real street tension. And right there in the middle was Diddy, Biggie's close friend, his producer, and the boss of Bad Boy Records, holding it down for the East. But no matter how much time passed, Diddy's name never disappeared from the whispers. Then came the Netflix docuseries Sean Combs' The Reckoning, which dropped on December 2nd and reignited the storm. Several voices in that series made bold claims, saying things like, "I think Sean had a lot to do with the death of Tupac, and he ushered Biggie to his death." Things are getting real messy, and people are watching every move.
Might be danger over here because people think that he has something to do with Pac. People think he has something to do with Biggie, and they right here in Brooklyn. You understand? It's right here in Brooklyn, and some of the people are still mad that he made Making of the Band walk to Brooklyn from, to get the cheesecake, and just around the corner from the Cheesecake Factory. So
Bad Boy co-founder Kirk Barrow dropped a serious bombshell in the documentary, saying the tension between Diddy and Tupac didn't just appear out of thin air. It had roots deep in the music game. Early on, both of them ran in the same industry circles, crossing paths often, but everything changed on November 30th, 1994. That night, Tupac hit up Quad Studios in New York City to record a verse for one of Diddy's artists, Little Sean. But instead of laying down a track, he ended up getting robbed and shot 5 times in the lobby. He lived through it, but that night changed everything. From that moment forward,
juniors, so it might be some dumb shit. So y'all need to get him out of here and ship him to Jersey because somebody gonna kill him over here. Those are good arguments, if you want to call it, but it's bullshit. He gonna get the same treatment no matter how much money he got.
Tupac's trust in Diddy and Biggie was gone for good. In a 1996 interview with Vibe magazine, Tupac was asked straight up if he thought Diddy was behind the setup. His answer made people's jaws drop back then, and the conversation hasn't died since. The Quad Studios shooting was never officially solved, but former Bad Boy security member Gene Deal,
Jimmy Hitchman, told him that they finna teach Pac a lesson. Because Pac had owed him some money. So that's why he was up in the studio and was coming to the studio. Pac owed him some money. Pac owed him some money. He was gonna work it off and get some money from doing a song with Lil Sean. And that's what that was about. But Pac was talking greasy to Jimmy Henchman, and Jimmy Henchman wasn't the type of dude that you talk greasy to, allegedly.
Came forward with wild claims. Gene said Diddy already knew Tupac was gonna be shot and didn't stop it. He insists the 50 Cent documentary talked about that night, but left out one crucial piece. According to Gene, on that same day, Diddy, Andre Harrell, and Jimmy Henchman were all meeting up in Jimmy's office, while Biggie and Suge Knight had no clue what was going on. Gene swears Diddy wasn't just there by coincidence.
Unless you 50 Cent.
So Diddy knew what was going to happen to Pac.
He knew Pac was about to deal well, yeah. He was there to see it. He was there to see it. He wasn't only there to see Big them. When Jimmy Henchman told him that, he was there to see what's going to happen to Pac. He was there for that. Because had he not been there for that, he would have went up there in the office. He would have went to the studio or the studio session with Big them. He would have went to that studio session with Big them. He knew what room Big them was in. He didn't do that. He was there to see what was going to happen to Pac after Jimmy told him. And that's factual.
He says Diddy was keeping tabs on Biggie because he controlled Biggie's publishing at the time. Biggie was writing new material, and Diddy wanted to make sure he knew every move being made. Gene claims Diddy was in that building not to work, but to watch. And then things took a darker turn. Gene says Jimmy Henchman told Diddy that Tupac was about to be taught a lesson over some money Tupac supposedly owed. Gene believes Diddy being there wasn't random, it was part of something much bigger. Kirk Barrow's story backs that up too, hitting that Diddy had his hands behind the scenes, and if Cass was moving around, Kirk would have known where it came from.
First, he also said that, he feels like, Diddy was behind Pac murder.
Yeah. If Diddy played a part in that stuff, like he said, Kirk know where the money came from. I'm going to say this. They tried to, if you talk about the Vegas trip and the whole 9 yards, Kirk said that he paid for.
Most of the people tied to that night are gone now, but the paper trail isn't. Gene ends his claim with one chilling line: money doesn't disappear, and if the truth ever surfaces, it'll speak louder than anyone alive. Gene believes it's sitting right there in records, checks, and transactions that can still be followed. Nearly 2 years after that Quad Studios night came the Las Vegas shooting that took Tupac's life, and for decades, that case stayed cold, fueling endless theories and whispers across hip-hop world.
People to drive out to Vegas. You know what I'm saying? He said he paid for people to drive out of Vegas. I was heavily with Bad Boy at that time. I don't remember that part of it. You understand? I don't remember that part of it. But if Kirk knew and he was paying for people to drive out to Vegas in the whole 9 yards, it's hard to hide $1 million, brother. You ain't going to cash that in the check cashing place. You signing that over to somebody.
But everything flipped in September 2023 when Dwayne Keefe D. Davis got arrested and hit with murder charges. Prosecutors claimed he played a major role in Tupac's killing, but what came next shook fans to the core. In July 2024, a court filing dropped a bombshell.
I said 1,000 times, and I'll say it 1,000 times again. Eric Von Zip showed me and my man Boondang, AKA my man Slick, a check for $1 million. We don't know, and everybody trying to say, lying, talking about half of it got paid, 500. I don't know. I know when I asked him about, we asked him, do we ask? No, we didn't ask him. I know
when he showed us the check and he walked away after he showed us the check for the $1 million?
A never-before-seen 2009 police interview. In it, Keith D allegedly described his role in Tupac's murder and repeatedly dragged Diddy's name into it. He claimed Diddy was the one who gave the green light for the hit.
And he was friendly with Big. He saw Little Sean, people like that. They wanted him to come and do a record. That was what was set up at Quad. Biggie, knowing Little Sean, they were all there, C's, all of them. It was just gonna be a fun night at the studio. Pac showed up. He saw them looking down from the window. His new friends were there. An incident happened in the elevator. It might have been a scary thing like this to send a message. Tupac standing his own ground, just didn't leave it at that. He ended up getting hit, getting shot. The elevator went up. Our people were shocked to see him in that state. He was shocked to see our people looking at him shot. He thought that they knew something about it. He thought if he was in New York and he was with all the rappers from the East, they must have known what was going to happen. It had to be in the wind, and situations aren't laid out like that. And it was the furthest thing from the truth, but he held that to his heart. And then he,
According to Keith D, Diddy was losing it over Tupac constantly disrespecting him in public. The situation has supposedly gone way past music beef. It had turned personal. Even crazier, a DEA and U.S. Department of Justice report referenced a 2008 interview where Keith D allegedly said Diddy told him he needed to get rid of Marion Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur, and that he was offering a $1 million payout to make it happen. That statement alone sent shockwaves through the culture.
went away. A few other things happened, got better, got repaired, went away, went to jail on the rape charge. Once that came down on him, it looked as if the East Coast must have been the worst thing and the worst place for him to have come to. And it looks as if the friends that he had just turned their backs on him. Suge stepped in. And when Suge stepped in, he signed him. He signed him to a napkin at Clinton. And that letter that he sent through Wendy Day, she was definitely a person that was connected and a mediator between most everyone in the hip hop game and had been for a minute, legendary person. She delivered the letter to my office. It started with West Side Up. So it gave an indication of rumblings that we heard in the street with him being shined by Suge was definitely true. He's gonna go west when he comes back, and he has an...
But Diddy has denied every single word. In July 2024, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department officially stated that Sean Combs has never been considered a suspect in the Tupac Shakur homicide investigation. Diddy has never been charged in connection to it, while Keith D has pleaded not guilty and remains behind bars waiting for his delayed trial. Even after Tupac's death, the danger around Diddy didn't disappear. Insiders say Diddy and his East Coast crew were warned to stay far away from the West Coast, but Diddy kept moving forward, determined to promote Biggie's next album. Biggie reportedly didn't want to go, but Sean convinced him to make the trip anyway. That decision became one of the most chilling parts of the story, just like Kirk Burroughs hinted in Sean Combs' The Reckoning. It was all just too much to take in. Gene Deal backed it up too, saying he'd heard the same thing. Clark Kent, who was tight with Biddy and deep in the industry, once admitted he never understood why Biggie even went out that night. Biggie was supposed to be traveling, not partying. When Clark asked him why they were heading to the Peterson Museum, Biggie said straight up that the whole thing was arranged by Puffy and someone else. Gene claims he didn't even know about that detail until Clark spoke on it publicly years later, and it still shakes him to this day. What cuts Gene the deepest is how he begged for more security before they went out that night. He said he pushed hard for it, but was told no. According to Gene, Puffy shut him down, saying there wasn't enough money for extra protection. That line haunts him because just hours later, tragedy struck, and the streets still haven't stopped asking why. In Sean Combs' The Reckoning, former LAPD detective Greg Kading also shared that he believed Diddy made the investigation even harder to crack. He said Diddy's actions didn't clear things up, they complicated everything. Witnesses from that night described Biggie's shooter as a black man wearing a blue tuxedo with a bow tie, a haunting image that's been burned into hip-hop history. But even after all these years, no one has ever been arrested or charged in Biggie's case. Both murders, Tupac's and Biggie's, remain officially unsolved, and Diddy still walks free of any charges. But things could be changing soon. More and more connections are surfacing, and whispers are turning into hard talk about Diddy's alleged involvement in what really went down with Pac. Burroughs said the tension between Diddy and Tupac was bubbling long before that night at Quad Studios. Trust was weak, egos were massive, and quiet rivalries ran the whole industry. But when Tupac got robbed and shot inside that building, everything exploded. Nothing between their camps was ever the same again. Burroughs revealed that Tupac later warned him things had gone way past music. It was personal now. In his message, Tupac made it clear it was war with Puffy and Biggie, no misunderstanding about it. That moment, Burroughs said, marked the real start of the feud that would spiral completely out of control. Meanwhile, Chopper claimed Diddy's hatred towards Tupac wasn't about competition. It was deep, raw, and personal. He said Diddy hated Tupac, and only later did he realize how real that hate ran. Now, rumor has it 50's the one leaking all this wild footage to outlets like TMZ and other media spots. And if Gene Deal's right, Diddy might be getting ready to fire back. Don't miss what comes next. Subscribe, like, and share to stay locked in.